everybody, and welcome back to another episode of 123 CMMC. My name is Dana Mantilia. I will be your host, and our guest today is Neal Sachdev. Hello, Neal. How are you?
I'm doing very good. Dana, how are you?
I am very good. So, Neal, before we get started, he's going to tell us a little bit about himself and his company. And on the screen, you'll see his website and his email if you want to get in touch with him. So, Neal, why don't you tell us a little bit about you and a little bit about your company?
Absolutely. It's my pleasure, Dana. So, for the CMMC world, right, if you're concerned about getting certified, compliance requirements are getting quite onerous. So, if you're concerned about getting certified in CMMC and staying certified, then Ariva can help. Ariva is a cybersecurity products and services pure play company. We are based in the Washington, D.C. area. And we specialize in making solutions or designing solutions that help risk management across GRC frameworks. So it could be CMMC or anything else. And we have not only our solutions, but we also have services, things like assessments and platforms that we provide for that purpose.
All right. Do you want to get to any more specifically what Ariva does?
Yes, I mean the one thing I think I want to highlight is we have an Axiom platform, which we call the Axiom SecOps platform. We fondly call it the single source of truth platform because it uses an XDR technology, and if that acronym doesn't ring bell, it is extended detection and response, and that means we do continuous monitoring and continuous compliance all through a single platform. And that is really our flagship product. And then we have our assessments activities, which is CMMC assessments, and all the other pieces that fall around it.
All right, good stuff. Okay, so why is Ariva's SOC as a service platform important for viewers seeking to be compliant with CMMC and any other framework?
And that's a great question, Dana. And I think I'm going to highlight a couple of different things about the platform. So the Axiom SecOps platform is the platform that provides you the ability to do continuous monitoring of your security operations and continuous compliance. What that really means at the end of the day is, if you combine compliance and operations, you should have the ability to collect all the controls and the data about the controls from all your environments, hybrid environment or your cloud environment, and take all that data and be able to compare it to the compliance domains. Each of the discrete requirements that you have as part of the compliance domains, you should be able to compare it and say, whatever data I'm collecting using the Axiom SecOps platform, is it really giving me a picture of how good I am from a security operations standpoint, as well as from a CMMC or ISO 27001/2 compliance or GDPR compliance? So our platform kind of does that, and I think it does that very well. It also gives our customers the ability to identify gaps and do remediation subsequently. So what they can do is not only look at their 24/7 monitoring, but also at the end of the day, see that they're compliant across all CMMC compliance domains. And also, from auditing standpoints, we have the workflow engines along with it, and it allows you to enter information, do continuous assessments, and also put it in a risk format, like having dashboards, so you know exactly at any point in time where you are from a security operations and compliance standpoint.
That's very important, being able to have that access to that dashboard 24/7. So that's really, really good. So let me ask you real quick. So when would an organization seeking certification, when should they reach out to you? Should they reach out to you right away when they're thinking about getting into the CMMC process, or should they wait till they meet with somebody and then add this as a tool afterwards, or what's the right time to reach out to you?
See, that's the beauty of our product. It's a complete single product. So if you today think you need to get CMMC certified, well, absolutely get in touch with us. Like I said, we have the workflow engine for the assessments, the gaps assessments, the readiness assessments, and also the engine that gives you the ability to put all the information in a single spot, so you can manage your POAMs. You can provide certification documentations, the SSP, the security policies, all in a single platform. And obviously, that's connected to our technical platform, the XDR platform. And between our secret sauce is the connection between those two pieces. So you can do the upfront assessments and then use our technology to keep your assessment posture consistently compliant with the requirements. So you can contact me anytime. If you're starting on the journey, contact me. If you are halfway through the journey, we are absolutely ready to help.
All right. Well, that's fantastic. I'm glad you were able to share that with us. So today we have a topic where we're going to talk about something similarly or along those lines. Continuous monitoring and management of CMMC and other compliance frameworks. And this is the big thing. I had mentioned this to you before. This is CMMC and all these other programs are not check the box and then move on after you've done it. It's a continuous thing. So this is going to be a good topic. Okay, so our first question is, why is it important that companies manage their CMMC certification continuously?
So, Dana, you hit the nail on the head when you said compliance today is not a checkbox exercise. What it used to be, it no more is. Today, you got to be truly compliant in the sense that you're truly secure, and you can demonstrate it through security activities or assessments. So, compliance is a very different animal today than it was 5 years ago. And CMMC and any other framework that you have out there. So let's take CMMC for example, because that's the focus of our discussion here. It includes 4 big activities. First is your gaps assessment. That's where you identify the holes in your environment, right? And then based on what somebody finds, you got to go fix those holes. So you do the remediation of the gaps. Then you have the pre-certification assessment. So everything that you have fixed and your original posture, that should be in line to be audited by a third party. So that's your 4th activity. I'm not going to harp on the self-attestation part because yes, it's required, but all the other gaps and readiness and all the other activities are still relevant for self-attestation. So let's say everything goes well and you do get certified. Well, imagine what happens right after you get certified. You have that certification you hung up on the wall, and your security administrator or a systems administrator goes out and spins up a new virtual environment, adds new users, connects through an API to another outside entity. Well, your certification is essentially void and null because there's a good chance he or she opened up a hole in your environment. So what does that do for you? You spent all that money and you spent all that effort getting compliant and getting certified, but the very next minute you are non-compliant. Well, that's a waste of money. God forbid you don't catch it and you get a surprise visit from your auditors. Well, guess what that entails, right? You're either going to lose your DoD contract or you end up getting monetary fines or both at the same time. So what does that really mean? So the continuous certification means that once you get certified, you need to have the infrastructure behind it to make sure anything that changes in your environment, and changes happen every day, every hour, every minute, right? And for the bigger companies, it's even a bigger problem. So all those changes that occur, they lead to gaps in your environment. So you got to be able to catch those gaps right away. Take that marginal effort, fix those gaps, because any gaps left behind multiply exponentially. And they are going to hurt you when the next audit occurs, either surprise audit or a yearly audit, and you would be held in violation of the requirements. So the idea is, why not catch the compliance drift at the moment it occurs and fix it continuously? Baseline the environment, adjust to the compliance drift, and stay certified. You won't have to spin up new activities at the end of the year, spend money, look for budgets, none of that stuff. Small little pieces, fix them early.
Yeah, and it's also good business practices too to be monitoring things continuously. I mean, that's why we had these measures in place, in the first place. And what we don't use, we forget about, right? So if they're not continuously using things and looking at things, people tend to go back to their old way of doing things. So that's very good. All right. Our next question. So what technologies and processes can a company utilize to stay continuously compliant with CMMC or any other compliance requirements?
So as we know, compliance or security is not a destination. It's a continuous process, right? And there isn't a single silver bullet out there that's going to get you 100% secure at all points. Well, what that really means is there are many things you need to do to dig a moat around your enterprise. And the moat has got to be deep and wide enough so all your environments, which you're talking about, your remote users, your third parties, all of those environments are fully protected. So the big deal is for any organization to have a culture of cyber hygiene and cyber resilience. Now, what does that really mean, right? Cyber hygiene is a practice of doing everything you can over the life cycle of all the assets that you control. So, for example, right, configuration management, you got to monitor every configuration that is on top of your assets at every day, at every juncture that you make any changes to the environment. And obviously, patching to be secure and maintain that security. What all of that good cyber hygiene does is gets you to a point of cyber resilience. Cyber resilience is the ability to recover gracefully from an attack. So it is, there's no question about this, that anybody and everybody is going to get attacked in some way, shape, or form. Either you know it or you don't, but you are going to get attacked. The idea is, well, if you have cyber hygiene, and even if you're attacked, and there's something bad happens in your environment, you have the ability to recover without losing a whole lot of time and effort and data. So there are three key pieces around technology and processes that provide cyber hygiene and cyber resilience. In my mind, and I practice this every day, and I've been doing it for 30 years, the big deal is to know what you have, which means you got to have continuous asset discovery and management, which is configuration management. Find the assets that are not part of your immediate perimeter, but go beyond the remote assets, applications, users, data, connections, everything that you have. Find every asset and you discover it daily, update it, stop the rogue assets and get rid of them, and make sure that your perimeter, even though it's so porous today, is protected, and manage it on a daily basis. The second piece is continuous assessments, which means, a lot of companies I've worked for, and I was a CISO at a very big organization, the security vulnerability assessments were being done once a month. Well, the threats aren't occurring once a month. Why are we doing assessments once a month? We got to be able to do assessments continuously, daily. An assessment cycle has to be as part of your daily operations, continuously identifying the issues and continuously remediating those issues. And the third important piece is continuous monitoring and incident response. We all do continuous monitoring at some level, performance monitoring or logs and so on and so forth. What we don't do very well is incident response. If we find an issue, we got to be able to fix it automatically. So those three key pieces: asset discovery, continuous assessments, and continuous monitoring and incident response, fix the problem as you see it at the speed at what they occur. And all of that is possible using technologies like extended detection and response.
SteelRoot, a national leader in helping companies in the defense industrial base with CMMC preparation and federal cybersecurity regulations. Big or small, SteelRoot is here to help design, build, and manage IT. The SteelRoot reference architecture is a secure, cloud-native operating environment built on zero trust principles. SteelRoot also provides managed cybersecurity, IT, and virtual ISSO services. Visit steelroot.us for more information.
And the thing, as long as the continuous monitoring and all that kind of stuff, the easier it is, the more likely it is to get done too. So that's something that I'm sure with your tools and everything that it is not an overwhelming challenge as if you were going to try to do it without your stuff. So
the biggest example I give is, we are always reacting to hackers. They are sort of organized around state organizations and crime syndicates, and they get money, and they have huge buildings and good equipment and tools, and their job is 24/7 hacking. Well, our job isn't 24/7 hacking, especially the DoD companies. Our focus is revenue generation. We got to keep our lights on. We got to pay for all the people that we employ. So we are always reacting. So you got to have tools. You got to have automation. And if you don't have that, you're going to be 10 steps behind the hackers. So XDR technology, it's all kludged together in a single way to give you the ability to protect yourself continuously.
Very good, very good. All right, so in regards to 24/7 security monitoring, what feature set or capabilities should companies be looking for?
So most companies currently have all sorts of tools, and one of the tools they have is called the Security Incident and Event Management, SEM, as we call it fondly as an acronym, right? It's been around for quite a while, and it's been in the environment. But I'm happy to declare it's dead. SEM is dead. All SEM is about collecting logs from your environment and using some information, correlating it with the threats, and giving you some alerts. The ability to give you lower false positives and false negatives in a SEM is crazy. What we face now is what is called as analyst fatigue. So you have people who are watching the glasses or a glass, they're monitors essentially, and looking at all the alerts coming in. They have to rely on their personal expertise to figure out if a certain alert is of significance, and it should follow up with the response activity or an incident alert to the asset owner. Well, that's the tough part. The analyst can only do so much, right? And there are incidents and alerts coming in at the speed of light. How do you keep up with that? The SEM technology is dead. You can't do anything with it. What you need is a Swiss knife approach, a single integrated solution that does all things cybersecurity. I spoke about cyber hygiene. I spoke about continuous monitoring, asset discovery, and assessments. That's what XDR does. So in a 24/7 situation where you need security monitoring and you need the ability to pull down or cull down events that are hundreds of millions over a period of a week to those significant 6 or 7 events that are based on deep, full visibility of your environment, which includes everything that is happening on your environments. We're talking about users. We're talking about network behavior, user behavior, network behavior, application behavior. Just everything deep coming from your environment should be able to identify the 6 or 7 critical pieces. So an XDR in today's world is what allows you that deep and full visibility and the functionality of follow-on automation for continuous incident management. So you can identify an incident, but if you can't go do something about it, or you have to start a ticket and send somebody a ticket to go fix it, well, guess what? You've lost the advantage. You got to be able to say, okay, I saw something. I'm going to take the time away from the hacker and go fix it before they make their way to the bigger asset that's right behind the one that just compromised. So the XDR is what is required from a 24/7 monitoring. And there are a lot of companies that are doing that. And some of them are doing very well. And it's a journey. Once again, XDR isn't a platform that you can slap on. It has to be tuned. It has to be built, and it has to be based on machine learning and artificial intelligence. And that's what gives you the ability to monitor continuously and protect yourself continuously.
All right, that's very good. That's very important stuff. So XDR, everyone needs to be working on here now. Okay, now we're going to talk about ransomware, which this is just ridiculous. The ransomware that's going on all over the place, whether or not people are paying attention or aren't paying attention. So ransomware is rampant and companies are being affected by it despite having a compliant posture. How can companies protect against it?
Well, first and foremost, compliance is not security. Compliance is just at a point in time, and we're trying to change that using our platform. But compliance is you're having a sort of a posture that gives you some guarantees that you are going to be protected. But guess what ransomware really is? Ransomware is the most highly profitable activity for hackers. But it's not for the companies, right? Because companies get hacked and they lose their data and they lose their reputation. And there are plenty of examples out there that ransomware has actually caused companies to go out of business. So why is ransomware that critical for us to protect against? Well, guess who's really implementing the ransomware? These are organized crime syndicates. They have people sitting in big buildings being fed pizza and ginger ale, and all their work is to go create new ways. It's sometimes it's creative, sometimes it's truly simple ways, and sometimes it's highly technical means to compromise and get through the front door, and then encrypt your assets and hold them at ransom. So they're usually looking for the weakest link in the chain to compromise and cause havoc in your environment. And those techniques are really rapidly morphing. So how do you protect against those techniques? And everything that changes, you got to be able to catch it. And the evolution of ransomware is at such a clip that none of us can even keep up with it. There are people working 24/7 in security operations centers like ours. And all we do is we look for behaviors and mechanisms to figure out what really is going on and which new kind of ransomware is actually going to hit our customers. So we are paying attention to it 24/7. Simple mechanisms from yesteryears like content filtering for emails and log correlations. I just spoke about SEM. That's all that does, log correlation. Those mechanisms can be easily defeated by the sophisticated ransomware that's coming out there. You just won't be able to catch it before it's too late. And God forbid you don't have cyber hygiene, well, you're going to lose all your data, you're going to lose all your customers, and you're going to lose your reputation. Think about you built something over 20 years and it's going to be lost in one day. and that's the problem with ransomware. So deep visibility solutions like the XDR, which uses machine learning and artificial intelligence in identifying the anomalies that are occurring in your environment, the user, application, and network packet behavior that is anomalous. If it gets caught right at the moment it happens, and the platform gives you the ability to react and do an incident response action immediately, that's the most critical piece you got to have against ransomware. So ransomware, once it hits your environment, you got to react really quickly, protect your assets, segregate, segment, and all of that. And XDR can be used by its capability, which is called security orchestration and automation for response. You can use that capability and do playbooks. Once you create a playbook, that if a certain action happens, you got to go take these 6 actions, separate my network, protect the data, separate the users. If that can be done at the speed of ransomware, well, guess what? You will be protected.
See, that's really good stuff. And the other thing is on the less technical side is the employees, which are the ones that are pretty much causing most of these problems. So you have created a product that's going to help maybe possibly avoid the scenario even happening. But in addition to what you're doing, we should also have some general employee training as far as what they should and should not be doing while they're online or inserting into their computer kind of thing.
The value of education is not lost on anyone. The problem is, things that were happening 10 years ago, you could read an email, you could tell it was spam, right? And, the vocabulary was all off and things were all crazy. And you could tell, well, this doesn't look like a legitimate email, right?
Right.
Well, today's emails are very different. The fact that it makes it to your inbox has the potential of causing havoc.
Mm-hmm.
You could have the ability to educate your users, but at the end of the day, we all make mistakes. We might invariably click on that one thing that we shouldn't click on, and God knows I've done it too.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been practicing security for 30 years. So yes, I absolutely agree. Education, it's like I said, it's not a destination, it's a process, and it's a continuous process. And education, like you said, is a big deal, and it's a big part of it.
Yep. Well, this was really, really good stuff. Thank you so much, Neal, for your time going over all this and letting people know that there are solutions out there. So it's very, very helpful. And is there anything else you want to throw out there before we go?
No, Dana, I think I enjoyed speaking with you and sharing my thoughts about this. And please, even though we're a business, just if somebody wants to reach out to me just to share intellectual material, I am absolutely game. I would love to sit down, chat, and just understand your challenges and share back what I've learned from so many of my customers that we provide our 24/7 services for. And it's this is a team sport. Cybersecurity is a team sport. We got to be doing it together, otherwise we'll never be successful. So
Yeah,
Dana, thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
You're very welcome. Thank you. And thank you everybody for listening and watching. And we hope to see you on the next episode of 123 CMMC. Bye-bye.